dealing with Forex that can be manipulated and that are correlated in large ways. So even if Japan is directly manipulating their stuff, that can affect all these other markets in really spectacular ways. Things get really muddy. Hey everyone, welcome to the Anarchy Podcast. 99% of traders will never make consistent profits. So why listen to the 99% of advice? On this show, we're going to challenge some of the most hallowed and repeated tenets of trading, and in doing so, set you up to succeed where others fail. Spoiler alert, we don't have a secret strategy or magic wand that will let you skip out on the hard work of learning the markets, but we can debunk viewpoints that are holding you back. If that sounds good to you, come join us. Hello and welcome to the Anarchy Podcast. Forex sucks. Did I get your attention? Good. We're out here engagement farming. Hot takes are good for the algorithm. Look, there's tons of people who make money trading Forex, so we're not completely dissing it, but we wanted to use today to give the reason why we don't trade Forex anymore and maybe give you some context to consider when you're deciding what markets to get into. Jordan, how you doing?
Doing well. Yeah, let me preface with the fact that, listen, we got into trading Forex. I'm not against Forex at all, but there are some reasons why neither Levi or I trade Forex anymore. We trade indices exclusively. And so today we're going to kind of go into a few of the reasons why that is. And maybe we'll give you some food for thought to consider about how you are currently approaching the markets and the pairs that you trade. Because honestly, when I switched over to trading indices, I went from being really bad trader to being a slightly less bad trader overnight. Like, it was actually statistically noticeable when I switched over from Forex to indices, which is why I have a little bit of passion about this subject.
I originally got worse because I started trading gold before I realized that was a terrible idea.
Okay,
But then
yes. We'll
Look,
include
Forex
gold
might be better than gold.
Forex. Yeah. Just some data for those of you out there that might not know this. More accounts are blown trading gold and pound yen. More accounts are blown trading those two pairs than any other pair. So that's just something to bear in mind. Yes, there's lots of people that can make money trading gold and pound yen, but more people blow accounts trading those than anything else. So just bear that in mind as we're going. But a few of the things that you're told, you probably already know this about Forex, right? So it's kind of lauded online. Like, you go and read Baby Pips, or I went through the whole Baby Pips thing back in the day and read through it all. And it's the most liquid market, trillions of dollars a day of volume. It's not manipulated because it's a bunch of different currencies. Okay, crap. None of that is like, okay, yes, there's a lot of money that goes around the markets and there's volume, but is it any different than anything else? No, it's not. And everything is manipulated. Yes, everything is manipulated. We're not here trying to say that things aren't manipulated, but I don't think they're manipulated in the way a lot of people think. For instance, no, people don't care where your stops are. It just happens that you place your stops in a sucky place. It has nothing to do with the brokers stop hunting it, and the big banks they don't care about your 0.01 lots on the pair. They really don't. They don't care where your stop is.
So I just to jump in here, because this one annoys me really badly. Like, no, the big bank and the quant sitting there who's about to drop $1 billion onto this indice, like, they don't care about your stupid stop loss that's sitting on the 1 minute chart, like 2 pips too high. They just don't. Okay. I don't know why that one bothers me so much, but I just hear it all the time. Because you know why? Because people lose and they don't want to take the blame. So it's
they
like,
want to protect themselves from the pain of
yeah,
knowing that they suck at trading.
Right. And so it's always someone else's fault. By the way, look, I'm not, again, there are people who make money trading ICT.
Tangent alert.
There are.
Tangent alert.
Yeah, tangent alert. I'm just going off on a wild tangent here, but like, there's people who make money trading ICT. So just let's say that right off the bat. The reason ICT became so big, though, is not because people are way more successful using that than literally any other strategy. That's not why it became successful. The reason it became wildly successful and popular online is because it makes people feel good to know that it's not you. It's some algorithm that is literally out to hurt you. It's literally like that's the main idea of ICT. The main idea of ICT is that there's algorithms that are working to specifically hurt you. And that's why you lose money. And because that's the main teaching, it suckers all the newbies on who lose and makes them feel better about themselves because no one wants to take responsibility for their losses. And so it's much easier to think that the bank is out to get you. Sorry, that was a wild tangent. I
Yeah,
apologize,
but no,
it
you're
drives me
fully right,
crazy.
and that honestly takes me to my up next point, which is the fact is everything is manipulated, just not in the way that you think, right?
Sure.
Like let's take JPY as a perfect example. The Bank of Japan says outright that they manipulate their currency, right? Like we've
Yeah.
seen those. If anyone spent time on Twitter, you've seen those people that said, "I'm such an amazing trade. I caught this huge candle." No, you just happened to be lucky when Bank of Japan bought all their currency and it dropped like 500 pips in 10 seconds, right? Uh,
Yeah.
that's also on the other side of that is 50% of the people who all of their money is completely gone, right?
Yeah.
Or for a better example, this is going to be, where this is going to actually be released a week later. But last night, as of recording time, which was November 14 or whatever, we had CPI and we had like a 600-point move or something on the Dow, and we had gold fly, and we just had on the 1 minutes, like anyone who had a stop loss was going in the wrong direction. They didn't get filled. Their stop loss did not get filled, and they lost their entire accounts. And so,
Yeah.
everything is manipulated. Yes. And that's why we don't trade news. That's why we don't trade Forex, because honestly, we feel that Forex it's more affected by manipulation, I feel, than the indices to some extent. Um,
There's
but
also it's also another reason why we don't trade forex is because we trade short term, and the reason we
yeah,
trade short term, besides other stuff that we've talked about, is because I don't like staying in trades overnight. Because if you're in trades, if forex has fairly large commissions, and so typically people who trade forex trade longer terms, and so you have to be in these trades for days. And then next thing you know, like poor people on Twitter last month when, Japan
Powell
directly,
farts on stage, or
yeah, or, because the US indirectly manipulates our currency. Japan directly manipulates it. I mean, they will
yeah,
straight up change their currency, and it'll just blow people's entire accounts. It will gap, just enough that with your leverage, if you had a trade open, you're just done. And you can literally, people have lost their entire accounts. Forget prop firms. We're talking actual money. I've seen people lose their money. So that's one reason we kind of floated around on a few different tangents on that. But that's one reason, because of the manipulations on that, a little bit more than maybe some of these other things. It can affect you in a negative way. Hey everyone, Levi here to quickly ask if you're finding value in the podcast. We would love it if you'd take a moment to follow the show and leave a review. It helps us out a lot and enables us to bring you the best possible content. Thanks for being part of the community. We love you guys.
yeah. That's great. That's great. And another reason why I don't trade it is there's too many options. Like there's what, 8 major pairs, then you have the minors, then you have all the exotics. Like you have like, what is there? There's like 100 different options you can trade. And when I say options, we're not talking option trading. I'm just talking options as in pairs. There's tons of
Mm-hmm.
pairs that you can trade, and it's information overload. I remember when I started trading, my watch list, I had 30 pairs on my watch list that I would get up in the morning and I start clicking and charting 30 pairs. It's impossible, right? Like now
Yeah.
you have no idea. You're looking at one pair and you go, okay, well, it's doing this. But then you look at another pair that's correlated, which is another reason I don't trade. They're all correlated. Like I could show you
Mm-hmm.
5 pairs. They're all moving essentially exactly the same.
Yep.
And they're all correlated. So I take, okay, well, if one correlated pair shows me looks like I should go long, but the other one shows me that I should go short, it's just like it's information overload. And
Yeah.
so getting rid of all those options makes it really good. As we've always said, and we've been consistent about this on a lot of our podcasts, pick one or two pairs to watch. If that's Forex, okay, but only pick one or two to look at, delete everything else. Or as Levi and I do, we have two indices that we watch, and that's it.
Yeah.
Because everything's so correlated and so just, there's so many options. It's information overload.
That's big because again, you have to be a day trader, you have to be the best of the best. So you have to be the resident
Specialist.
expert. Yeah, you have to
Yeah.
be a specialist. So it's much easier to be a specialist in one or two things than try to be a specialist in everything. And so when there's a lot of options with Forex, it can get a little bit muddy, especially because, like you said, everything is correlated. It can make things really confusing too, because I know a lot of people who listen are newer traders. And so it's really important as a newer trader to not to try to unmuddy, clear the water as much as possible. And so with all the options, with the correlations and the correlation charts. And so I remember learning, Forex. And again, I have a soft spot for Forex because this is how we started trading. But I remember having the charts to see what the correlations were, whether I could take two of these trades at the same time, whether I could have a trade in US Euro and Euro JPY at the same time, or otherwise, are they negative correlated? Are they positively correlated? Should I be taking two trades at the same time that are correlated? Well, or should I be taking two trades at the same time that are negatively correlated? Like it's just it's a bit of a mess. And again, there are people who make it work, right? So I'm not saying it doesn't work, but what I'm saying is the reason we moved away for all these reasons we've said, like trading's a numbers game. Like it's all about getting a slight edge, right? It's playing the odds. And for us, the odds just it was the less we used Forex. And I remember we started just moving away from it gradually, right? We started trading gold, we started trading some CFDs, and we just slowly started working away from it. Um, and because just the data showed, like you were talking about, you had just direct data that showed that you were better without it. And I find a lot of people they have very similar stories.
To tag onto that, honestly, the other reason why I'm against Forex is just purely, again, statistical, is commissions. You've got to pay
Yep.
commissions on Forex, where indices, you don't pay commission. And again, we trade on the 1, the 5, 1 and 5. I was going to say 15, but that's a lie. We don't trade on 15. The data says that both Levi and I hold our trades on average like 15 minutes max. So the fact is, commissions can eat up such a huge part. If you look at the data, like I looked at some of my old Forex prop firm challenges that I had blown, and my commissions were like $200-300, which equates to 2 or 3% on a prop firm challenge, which is just insane. And so you might as well save that 2 or 3% and put that into profits, right? Because that's just
Yeah.
eating into you. And especially if you're an over trader, which, let's be honest, all new traders are going to tend to be over traders. Those commissions are eating up even more into your into your profits.
Yeah, I mean, it's again, like you said, when you're new and you're trying to work back the over trading, you need to help yourself out the best you can, especially with, again, the reason we trade short term, 1 minute, 5 minute candles. The reason for that, we have a full episode on that, one of our earlier ones, on candlestick timeframes and how that has been misrepresented by most people. But on why in our opinion, you should be trading shorter term trades. And when you start trading shorter term with Forex, man, the commissions just could blow you out of the water. And so we started moving away from that. But yeah, I mean, again, I think, to just summarize, like the reason there are people who are successful, but trading is a numbers game. It's just making things work in your favor as much as possible. And when you talk about, these, when you're dealing with forex that can be manipulated and that are correlated in large ways. So even if Japan is directly manipulating their stuff, that can affect all these other markets in really spectacular ways. Things get really muddy, and in our opinion, when you're learning, you shouldn't be muddying the waters as much as possible. So I don't know if you have anything to add there, Jordan,
No, that's
yeah.
pretty much it. Yeah, it's exactly what you said. Because at least when you're trading in like an index, like a CFD or something like that, so US 30, DAX, NAS, SPY, whatever you want to do, S&P, whatever you're doing, those are usually only affected by releases in that country, right? So it doesn't matter what happens in Japan or Germany, it's not going to affect my Dow 30 trade. And the same thing goes, whatever happens in the US is not going to greatly now. US, let's be honest, US economy affects everything else. So what does happen in the US is going to affect like the other indices as well to some extent, but not to the same extent as we're talking forex. So yeah, just that's our hot take on forex. Feel free to keep experimenting with forex, but Levi and I
Yeah.
would both challenge you. Look at the numbers. Experiment with some indices, see what you think, and we think you might be surprised, and you might actually see a significant edge in your trading due to that simple change of looking at a different type of market.